Hey everybody, this is day 2 of the Chiat binder, a trip into the history from early 1980 to today and tomorrow. This is not old-timey advertising tales. This is quality of universal truths about good advertising. Chiat and Apple. Excuse me. Now, Apple, of course, there's a lot of stories. You can look them online about 1984 and all those stories. I probably know things about it. You don't. It doesn't matter. The big things you should know. But I'll tell you some things maybe you don't. How did Chiat get Apple? Well, Regis McKenna, kind of a tech and PR firm, had gotten some of the initial projects, had the account of Apple, and Jay was very much into what's going to come next, and he found out about this, bought a controlling interest in Regis McKenna, and got Apple. So Apple, back then, was really a very different sort of thing. The actual logo for Apple in the beginning, of course, you can find this online, was that scripty, beautiful thing. And then, of course, when Regis McKenna had it, had that as the logo. You'd find that logo on the Apple II, the Apple IIc, the early ones. And when Apple went to the rainbow thing, I was so influenced by the simplicity and the cleanliness of the business cards and all. Because the amazing thing, I think, was Chiat's work was just so great, but Apple Creative Services, the people there, Tom Suter, Clement Mock, and some others who really made the Apple brand internally as high quality and great as Chiat was telling the world. And they actually worked together a little bit. They influenced each other with the simplicity, the cleanliness, typography, everything. It was a great marriage in that way. Although there's something interesting. I'm not really sure why this happened. The original Macintosh ad that ran in Newsweek magazine, the inserts and all, is kind of famous. And what it's famous for, let me find it. Where'd it go? There's so much in here. Here. The original magazine insert. This is an ad that was a brochure that was an ad. Who did that before them? Of the 235 million people in America, only a fraction can use a computer. Now, that's the thing that Chiat did. And look at that, Macintosh, for the rest of this. Brilliant writing. Now, here's the first thing is, see how the type is black and it's over the hand. Well, a companion piece, which was almost exactly the same, was done by Apple Creative Services. But when they did it not on 3 lines in black up here, they did it 4 lines reversed out of the bag. What was that decision about? Did it have an argument between Creative Services and Chiat? Otherwise, it's almost exactly the same. It's so weird. In the magazine insert, the picture is more up here in this space, but it's here. I just don't know why the Creative Services and Chiat didn't get together on this stuff. But the main thing I want to tell you about Apple and Chiat is that it's not just about 1984. It's not about the ones that everyone knows and Lee's stories about working with Steve Jobs and all. It's the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of newspaper ads, magazine ads, collateral, television commercials in such depth. And they were trying to figure out, what does personal technology really mean? What is a personal computer? And Chiat's brilliance, because of these people and that culture that said, when you open up a newspaper ad and 3 pages open up before you, or a magazine, like even this, before the Mac. Apple introduces a technological revolution of unprecedented proportions or whatever, because it was so small, and the photography and the writing really was just working together so well because it was confident and bold and simple. And you go to the next spread in here for the same ad. Come on, fingers. See, look at that. Look at that. It gets bigger when you plug it in. That would be a fantastic banner ad. It would be a great banner ad. But the thing is, back then is what we need today. To make sure that if you give something to someone to read, reward them for reading it. And these had as much information as you would find at almost any website today in total. But it was even more personal in a way. You're flipping through a magazine, newspaper, you see this, and you start to read it, and every sentence is just like, I'm going to keep reading this. It was smart, it was confident, it was human. And the more you read, the more you wanted to read because the writing was so damn good. Even the small call-outs and the little italicized things that describe the details were so beautifully written. And then the art direction loved the text and made it beautiful to read, made it super clean. These are ads you could eat off of. Apple computer. The number of projects that were done in coordination with creative services and by Chiat that just took the design to such a beautiful level. When you do something that's so clean and simple, the position of everything matters so much. If you only have 3 things on the page, how big they are, where they are, matters. A half of a millimeter this way or that way makes or breaks grace and beauty or clunkiness. The typography, the choices that were brought to this account. When they went to switch from, they used Gaudi Old Style for a long time, and who didn't? And then when they figured out ITC Garamond Light condensed 80%. And then they actually made a font like that, Apple Garamond. But first it was just optically condensed by Aldus typesetters. It was just that idea that doing something that was precise and classical and beautiful, but it was kind of in a new way now, was actually a very astute thing. That if you make the typeface condense somewhat, you can probably get more words in a headline, or you can get fewer words bigger, etc. It's brilliant. And the amount of stuff I have in here from Apple is pretty crushing, because not only did I love the advertising, but I love the product. My first Apple was an Apple II, and then I got an Apple IIc. I never figured out how to work it, but I knew this was important. I wanted to have it out all the time so I could inspire myself. It was that revolution. I knew something was going to happen. And then when the Macintosh came, I brought Macintoshes to the agency where I was working in 1986. Even though they'd been out for a year and a half at that point. I made a point that we were spending so much money on this and this and that. We'd do it this way, we'd save money, we can make more changes at the last minute. And of course, I knew how to sell it. And we got all Macintoshes in 1986. Yeah, Chiat and Apple. Jay Chiat knew something like this was going to be big and wanted to have Apple as a client. And when they got it, they gave it everything to a client that wanted everything and more. This is not about 1984. This is not just about, oh, they had the account. It was every day grinding it out with craft, passion, and rewarding the viewer with a beautiful, clean, pristine, gorgeous look, and writing that spoke to you, inspired you, like one person talking just to you. It's more than that, really. It was just work that dumbfounded me when I would see it. I would start figuring out the magazines you ran the ads in, and I would go to the newsstand and see, was there a new Apple ad? And I found a lot of them for the first time, right there in a grocery store or a bookstore on a magazine shelf. and experiencing what something that Chiat had done that landed in my hands at that moment, where I could say, most advertising just doesn't matter. They don't show any care at all for you. And then suddenly you see something where someone is giving their blood and guts to show you something worth thinking about. And if that isn't love, I don't know what it is. Chiat and Apple. It was tumultuous. Everyone knows the politics and the stories. You know, when they lost the account and all the sniping that was done in the ads and the letters to the editor. Doesn't matter. Because at any moment during this relationship and when they were working on Apple, it was absolutely a case of what does a personal computer mean? And as simple as that is, the depth of that, with the personality of confidence, of humanity, and a passion for the craft. In other words, you looked at an Apple, even then, you could see how much care had been put into the design, making it simple. And the advertising was a perfect match with it. It was simple, but so much care has been put into the elements that were there. Well, obviously you can see why this wasn't a LinkedIn post, because LinkedIn won't let me do a video this long. This is probably the longest one because there's so much in Apple and that made me fall in love with Chiat, and what Chiat did that made me fall in love with Apple. Oh my God, isn't that perfect? I had to do this on YouTube and then post it, but that's okay. These ads, like the Lisa one, it took 200 years to draw this picture, you know, and the Lisa with the little ear picture. It's just amazing. Why every kid should have an Apple after school. Oh, I'm going to read that ad, you know. And the last things in here were the things I saved, you know, like Apple Computer picks BBDO and handle its $50 million ad account, drops Chiat. Wall Street Journal, May 21st, 1986. 86, 2 years after the great 1984 commercial. Everyone says it's so great. I do too. 2 years later, they lost the account. 2 years, doing great work. Why? Politics. When it comes down to it, one person in the room doesn't like someone else in the room, and everything is all over. Wow. The important thing is, again, this is not about what they used to do in the old days, but now we're in digital. Bullshit. If you're still writing, if there are still words on a screen, you better make them the best words you can make them. Reward someone from reading them. And if the design doesn't support what the words are trying to say, and doesn't lift it to a higher place, even on a banner ad, get out of the business and let someone who knows what they're doing do it. Yeah, this is a story of obsessive passion and curiosity and wanting to learn. Who are you and where are your standards? What do you want to learn and who are you learning it from? If you died next week, is there something you could do that would be a good legacy for you? I don't know about you. There's some awfully good life legacies in here. See you tomorrow.